Good morning, everybody. This is Grant Sparks of the Grant Sparks Show. This is a special Thursday edition of the Grant Sparks Show, episode 342. And today we're talking about 3 ways to beat the tariff takedown of your small business. No, today we're not going to talk politics, not going to talk politics at all. We're going to talk small business and fear. Because the one thing that we can all absolutely know just by looking outside is a lot of people are afraid, or a lot of people are falling silent, or and by silent, I mean regarding their business. They're falling silent in that they're not really saying, this doesn't affect me much, or this does affect me much. No matter where you look, you cannot not be affected on the impact in consumer confidence, which we're going to look at in a quick second of what's going on with tariffs. So for today's Spark Show, I've got a 3-part framework that I think we can help you beat the tariff takedown. And I call it the tariff takedown because, again, not from a political standpoint, but from a marketing and messaging standpoint, the market is starting to send shockwaves out there of how your business is going to be affected. It's sending shockwaves on how consumers are responding to business and purchasing and what's going on with that out there. So for today's show, I'm going to offer you my 3-part framework as I've been thinking about this for our own company, for my clients, as we try to speak to our clients' pain and needs. They're often asking questions that they don't think is tariff related or consumer confidence related, but it is. And so we're going to share with you, let's just look at it real quick, 3 ways to beat the tariff takedown of your small business. So real quick, what's going on with all this? Tariffs aren't just a political or economic tool. Whether you think they're taxes or not, it's irrelevant. Long story short, these are going to start showing up as line items all throughout the country for all sorts of goods. But more than that, they're trust shockwaves. When our consumers in America see tariffs, this is the first time in a long time that we've seen tariffs to this degree. A lot of consumers out there, a lot of young consumers, have never even thought about what a tariff is or how it could possibly affect them. So this isn't just about politics or economics. I'm thinking about this from the small business consumer confidence side. And on the consumer confidence side, people are freaked out. And rightly so. We see this going on right now in the form of consumer confidence. This right here is from the conferenceboard.org on consumer confidence. They meet every year and summarize how things are progressing. They meet every month, honestly, to collect numbers. And this is what we're seeing. Consumer confidence took a huge dip, particularly last month. And the conference board on consumer confidence fell almost 8 points to 86. This is a 5-year low of consumer confidence. And I've got the reference link right there for you if you're curious of where that comes from. So basically, it's this. When prices rise and the goods on the shelf available are getting fewer and fewer, and their ability to purchase the goods that they want gets less and less, consumers don't care about excuses on what's going on with the prices. They actually don't even care about the economics and the politics. They care about what still feels worth the small dollars they still have to spend. Their concern is more with what value can I get and where. And yes, this does drive to a discount mentality, but there's ways to beat that. We're going to talk about that. So if your marketing and your messaging and your brand positioning have not evolved, you're just going to continue to lose margin, whether that's fewer clients, whether that's keeping your prices the same while your costs go up. In short, you're losing relevance. And that's honestly quite fatal for the average small business owner. Customers are pulling back. This is true. When customers fear that prices are rising, they get skeptical. And by skeptical, they believe they're being sold. They have this defense mechanism in the marketplace that comes up. And they start to get skeptical about every offer in front of them. They start price shopping everything, shopping their competitors, and then they start delaying their buying decision. If you have a medium priced ticket, anything from $750 to, I'm going to call it $8 or $9 grand, medium ticket offerings. And for a lot of people, that's high ticket offerings. I'm thinking about home services and goods, putting in a fence, putting in, new landscaping, stuff like that. They're going to delay their buying decisions big time, or they're just going to drop off altogether. You might have already been seeing this in your business. Your closing ratio might have been a little bit higher than it is today. And you see suddenly, man, my closing ratio is dipping and I don't even know why. So consumers are pulling back. And again, there's statistics on them delaying their buying decisions because of poor messaging. Now, I want to emphasize this point. Poor messaging got us here. Again, no matter what you think about the politics or the economics, what we do know is that the messaging from the top down in our government and around the world has been very lackluster. It hasn't been a lot of leadership. There hasn't been a lot of vision. There's been a lot of doublespeak, and that's created fear. So my focus is less on the politics and the economics and more on the fear affecting small business owners in their, in their margins. And fear, obviously, as we know, leads to less spending. Now, if that's not a big enough problem than what all of you are facing, I'd say that this is a compound effect. And we're going to solve this in just a quick second for you. But most small businesses are reacting to these market forces by either staying where they're at, silence, not moving the needle at all, not speaking to their prices going up, not speaking to tariffs impacts or any of that. And they think maybe that's a good thing to not speak up and keep their prices where they're at. Or they're discounting. And even though their margins are getting tighter because their costs are going up, but they're not changing their pricing, so their margins are getting narrower, they might even discount because they're also seeing fewer clients come on board. So if your margins get tighter and there's fewer clients, a lot of small business owners are going to say, let me get more clients. And they think that just getting more clients is going to do it. And sales solves a lot. Maybe you could just sell more people, sell more clients or customers. But if your margins are getting narrower, you're just getting more of the same problem. So on top of all the fear mongering and the confusing messaging around tariffs, most businesses are reacting in a way that's not sustainable. There's so much, and beyond just the tariff messaging, your own messaging of discount and silence, your message is getting lost in the market. So as people are panicking and starting to look for better options, because what we'll see is that if you quote someone for a landscaping gig, or you quote something for a pet sitting gig, or we quote someone for a website gig, they're going to say, okay, thanks for your quote. And they're going to now look around the market. And as they look around the market, they're now going to get flooded with AI generated content. There's more marketing and advertising. So not only are they frustrated as potential consumers, but you don't stand out because the AI generated content is flooding the market. There's absolute brand fatigue. People are so sick and tired of mediocre offers that are not well thought through. And I know that when it push comes to shove and you suddenly rally and you think, I'm going to start marketing, and you just roll out some offer out there. It's a mediocre offer at best, and it's not well articulated. There's no pizzazz. There's no energy to it. There's no empathy. You're not actually landing with the pain as they experience it. You're just trying to push your product on them. And your old messaging isn't built for uncertain economies. You got to hear this. Your old messaging, your old offers, they're tone deaf to the economic uncertainties that clients are experiencing today. So whether it's this tariff messaging that we're talking about right here, and which is just fear mongering, and again, regardless of the politics, the economics, I'm talking about the effect of fear in the clients and the potential customers and consumers. On top of that, these other factors are working against you. And so a lot of small business owners are going to be overwhelmed, and they're simply going to discount their prices or just hold tight and hope that someone's coming, hope that something changes in time, that their business will still survive. And let me tell you something. Businesses will fail if they haven't already. Have you seen this already? Businesses will definitely fail. And hear me on this. If they complain about tariffs or the economy, not because it's political, but because people don't like doing business with complainers, period. And as times get uncertain, and we saw this in COVID, as times get uncertain and scary, if you become a complainer and that's your response and you're still not changing your pricing models and you're still not improving your value, you're not making any changes, people will just avoid you, just like they avoid a complainer at a party. If you get political for or against what's going on, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if you're for what's going on, consumers will begin to avoid you. Doesn't matter if you're against what's going on. Consumers will begin to avoid you. And maybe you're okay with that. That's fine. But the mechanism is, as consumers are thinking more and more and more about the bottom dollar, more and more and more about the value they're getting. If you are complaining, if you're getting political, doesn't matter if it's for or against, people will begin to avoid you. If you don't raise prices, people will begin to think, are these guys okay? I know that sounds weird, but if you do not raise prices as your costs go up, you will fail. It's not just about public perception. If your costs are going up, and nearly every business owner, we represent right now about 184 active businesses, and over time, we represent about 250. We interact with probably about a couple hundred businesses every single week between all of our services, and nearly all of them are saying prices are going up. All of them. And whether it's consumer prices or business to business prices, doesn't matter. Their prices are going up. So if you do not raise prices, you will go out of business, not just from a public perception standpoint, from a profitability standpoint, because most of the small business owners I know are barely making their margins. If you sell on discount only, you will fail. You might sell on some discounts. You might offer some temporary offerings. You might bundle some things and narrow your margins by bundling. There's some things you can do. But if you only sell on discount, you'll fail as a small business owner. And lastly, if you will fail as a small business during times like these, times of uncertainty, if you use the same old messaging. Now, how can you win? You can win if you have strong authority in your space. If when people start price shopping and they see your name and that name represents authority, not just quality, not just value, but authority. Like you have a voice in this space, they will trust you. You'll seem more than just a vendor. You'll seem like a leader. If you sound strong and confident in the face of economic uncertainty, people will send their dollars to where the confidence is. Confidence is amazing. I look in the face of all the stuff and I tell everyone around me, myself, my employees, and my clients, we're going to make it. I believe it. But not just by holding steady and kissing our butts and hopefully not to kiss our butts goodbye and just bunkering down. No, by standing up strong during these times. People are drawn to confidence. And if you are not vocal in the market space, if you are hiding your brand and messaging, just hoping that your word of mouth referrals are still working, you do not exude confidence. And this is the other thing of the other slide where it said you discount or you're silent. I don't mean politically silent. I mean, you are silent in the market, meaning, and by that, I mean, your ads aren't, oh, I got ads going out all the time. People are ignoring text-based generic ads. The numbers are empirical. If you do not put a face to your brand that has confidence, you're going to lose. You can win if you do put a face to your brand with confidence. You'll win if you do storytelling. My company moved back from the Dominican Republic in 2013 and we're committed to serve nonprofits. And we did because we thought nonprofits had a noble cause and they should have the best websites around. And we thrived from that. And on top of that, me telling you that 10-second story reemphasizes that I'm a relatable person to you. And you heard that story and it endears you to me in some way, shape, or form. So storytelling is absolutely critical and you will win, especially if you tell stories through the crisis. For example, if you just saw the blackouts that occurred in Spain and Portugal and all the power was off and all their phones were dead, and some people were able to capture video of people regaling each other with stories, people standing in the street and communicating the story of their week. How did your week go? Tell me a story. How are you doing? Tell me a story. How's your business doing? Here's how we're thriving. Stories have problems. Stories have problems that worsen. Stories have heroes that solve those problems. Tell a better story. You will also win if you reposition yourself in the market. As the market gets shaky and shakes things up, if you have authority, if you have confidence, if you have strong storytelling, you can use all of that to reposition yourself in the market. So how do you do that? You can thrive in this market. I absolutely believe. I saw this in COVID. I saw this in 2008 in the market correction then. I saw this in 2011 in the market correction then. And you didn't notice this, but the crypto markets were failing too, which I was involved with. And I saw people die off, their businesses die off, and I saw businesses thrive. You look for times of uncertainty to reposition yourself in the market by reframing how the world sees your company, your brand, and your team. How do they see you? Do they see you respond in the public or are you hiding? To survive and thrive, you can use this, what I call the 3R fear-proof framework. The fear-proof framework on how to replace, raise, and reshape yourself. So what is the 3R fear-proof framework? How do you beat the tariff takedown in your small business? This is gonna rock people what's gonna happen economically unless you're ready. Number one, replace. Number one, replace. Change out your generic messaging with authority messaging. If you sound like everyone else, you'll be priced like everyone else. If you sound like everyone else, you will struggle like everyone else. Listen, I cannot I cannot emphasize this enough. If you look and sound like everyone else, you'll be priced like everyone else. If you look and sound like everyone else, you'll struggle like everyone else. My goal for you is that we move beyond that to a place of thriving. So, how can we do that? Change out your weak value propositions like affordable or best service, or even phrases like best value, because it sounds like a dollar store. Replace that with positioning, market positioning on authority. Talk about your uniqueness. Hey, we're unique because we develop transformation, because we're an authority in the space, because here's our credentials, how long we've been at this. Don't just talk about generic, and the difference is the generic nature of it. Humans are programmed to see differentiation and to ignore similarities. This is why I focused on this phrase, generic messaging. Because when you say we're affordable, best value, quality, loyalty, this is super generic. But when you say things like, been in the business since 2013, that's a little bit more specific. I've done over 875 website builds and counting. We're launching 2 this week. That'll be 876 since we've been open. That's some authority. We've done websites for Google and we decided we don't want to work with big companies. That's unique. So this is messaging that is more authority based. Then shift from features to customer transformation. We just helped our customer Hestia, who just launched a rental company, an event rental company, where they do all the place settings and all the chairs. They just launched their website and they were confused on their branding. We got on a call as we were launching their website and they were lost because tariffs actually were delaying the delivery of all their rental supplies that they got online from China. So they have all this stuff waiting or coming into the port, but it's delayed. And now it costs 120% more than it did. And they were worried, what do we do with our brand? So we sat on a call and we talked about authority and how they make people, how they transform spaces from bland to hospitable. And it's something they valued. That transformation is the type of language where they don't need to talk about the place settings they have. They need to talk about the impact they make in people's lives. Replace your generic messaging with authority-based messaging. Infuse testimonials, case studies, narratives that build your positioning in a category leader. Listen, I'm telling you, I remember I had a competitor here in my local town, and we were really starting to grow and go, and especially in the middle of COVID. And for some reason, he was started kind of dragging our name. Long story short, where's that guy? He closed his company. He's living abroad now, not even in the space at all whatsoever. And we're still here, and we have most of his clients to this day. That's a humble brag. It's a narrative. And whether or not that's even true, and it is, it's starting to position us as a category leader. We're still in the space. We've been here since 2013. It's 2025. We're find things that stick out for you as a category leader. So here's something you can do today. Here's actions you can take right now, tactical moves. Rewrite your website headers, your social media headers immediately. We help X people, we help this type of client get Y results. Even in an uncertain economy, you can emphasize this economy. This is something we did with Hestia, the event rental brand. We actually showed them how to leverage what's going on in the market. And we came up with this phrase, just because something along the lines of, just because the economy is grinding to a halt doesn't mean the party stops. And they're like, that's kind of cute. And we had to workshop it a little bit. It's not perfect, but you can work with some of these phrases and speak to it. Maybe not everyone's costs are rising dramatically yet, but maybe there's a fear impact. We help X get Y results in this type of economy. Elevate your tagline to include resilience and leadership. Wherever your tagline appears on your website, on your social media, in your print material, wherever that's at, on your business cards, elevate it so that it speaks to resilience. Here we go. 15 or 10, 12 years in the business, 875 clients served. We're here. We've seen X, Y, and Z, and we're still delivering service through thick or thin. Workshop your line because people want to align with businesses and brands that are resilient and leading them into a better world. And that you could just be a landscaper. You could be a lawn person leading people into a better world somehow. Absolutely. And then launch a quick Why Our Value is Rising campaign. Why our value is rising on email and social. And don't make this about the market. Make this about how you're adding value or just communicating value. For example, in the website company, nearly every website company should have 24-hour tech support, right? It's just something that should happen. Or a promise of 99.99% uptime. Absolutely, right? They should offer that. Everyone should offer that. So much so that we don't put it on our material. We just say, we'll sell you a website. What if I said we sell you a website with 99% uptime and 24/7 tech support? Whoa, you didn't even know that was a feature. 30 days of backups. Whoa, you didn't even know that was a feature. Why our value is rising is we're adding 30 days of backups. Every company should have been offering it. What do you do that you have not been featuring for your clients when you roll out a campaign that says why our value is rising? Absolutely. So those are tactics you can do to simply replace, what's the line here? Replace generic messaging, what we're saying right here. Replace generic messaging with authority messaging through these tactical moves. And I'll link to this presentation so you have these slides later. Real quick, raise the increased perceived value through clear messaging. Basically increase your perceived value through clear, bold messaging. People will pay more when they understand more. Let me say that again. People will pay more when they understand more. And in a tough economy, and when uncertain times in general, wartime, maybe the economy's fine, but there's war going on. In uncertain times, people will ask the why question more. Hey, why does it cost that? Why do you do it that way? And what they're trying to do is convince themselves to buy the service, right? We know this from sales. So hear the phrase, people will pay more when they understand more. So how can you raise the perceived value through clear, bolder storytelling and reframe? Let's talk about it. Number one, raise your perceived value through storytelling. Sorry, I just said that. Basically, the storytelling is of the utmost importance. What story are you telling? It doesn't have to be about what's going on economically or politically. What story are you telling? Are you telling their story? The thing about storytelling is everyone thinks it's my story, and it can be. And you might have a hero story, but you're not the hero of their story. So on your about page, sure, tell us why you're in the business, but transition that. So why I'm in the business is because what you have gone through. Chances are you've worked with other website and marketing companies. They got you so far, they built the thing, but there was no leads and they suddenly fell silent when you asked for leads. Have you been a part of that story before? And then you were struggling to get your voice and messaging out there on your own. We're a marketing company that helps you broadcast your story and actually get more leads. Tell a new story. You're just the guide. We've heard this from Donald Miller's story brand, but not only tell your story, but tell theirs. Make sure you have a bold reframing. Listen, we know you're struggling, but you're going to make it. All you need is X, Y, and Z. If it's true and you mean it. The other thing you can do is use pricing psychology. Increase the perceived value through pricing psychology. Bundle your offers. Do anchor pricing. For example, if your chief product is $2,000, like let's say we have a $2,000 website, and the difference between that and our ultimate website's like $4,000. That's a $2,000 lead. It doubles. But our low end website that doesn't come with a lot is $1,500. So for the $1,500 website, they get a 1 to 5 page custom website. But for the $2,000 website, we actually have search engine optimization. We have a one-on-one coaching. We have a marketing action plan for them. Well, shit, I might as well pay you $2,000 because I'm getting a lot of extra value. And you notice that the price between tier 1 and tier 2 are very close, but the price between tier 2 and tier 3 are pretty large. And if they buy the tier 3, there's a lot that goes into that. That's fantastic. But chances are they'll buy the middle tier based on anchor pricing. Have testimonials that validate each and every one of their purchases, every step of the way, on the cart page, on the checkout page. I was so happy that you can do pricing psychology to increase the perceived value of your offering. And then teach the customer. This is something that Spark has done, and now we did it as Spark Sites. We did it as State of the Spark. Now we're doing it as Hot Spark. And that is teach your customer while you're still the best bet. We offer so much training and education for our clients. It's not even funny. It's almost embarrassing. So much that my team is like, we can't do that much training. So how do we do this? What's some tactical moves you can do to to raise your perceived value? What are some tactical moves? Number one, update your sales page and your service listing with what's included. Why are values going up? What's included? Tell them things that they just never even knew that you added. Stuff that you just did because it was the right thing to do. Tell them we're doing this because it's the right thing to do. Add comparison tables. Here's what X gets you with us versus others. Now, there is like a price comparison, and you can do this even if your price is higher than your competitors. So if your price is, let's say, 10% higher, but you're giving them 50% more value, there's another pricing psychology there. And once you create that comparison table, then share it on your socials. That's content for your social media. And lastly, include a why now. Why are we increasing our value now? As an explainer email or a video that goes out or through your social media that reframes urgency. We're moving now to ensure that we help you stay ahead of the market correction. We're rolling out these services or this education or this webinar or whatever this service is, this home service. Here we go. We're rolling out this service now before the storm season sets in. You should take care of, if you're a landscaper, you should take care of your trees before hurricane season if you're in Florida. Create some urgency, but let them know why now. Those are some tactical moves you can make. And now lastly, reshape your story. Pivot your offer into a story-driven ecosystem. If you have not noticed, I have talked about storytelling several times, and I have told several stories already. Reshape your core offer. Your offer isn't just what you sell. It's how people feel when they join your orbit. Hear that again. Your offer isn't just what you sell. It's how they feel when they join your orbit. So what this looks like is the story I told about Hestia. When Hestia came along, they were a couple who were trying to launch their event rental company, and they were just putting together their offer on their website, and they came to us because they were kind of stuck, and they thought they were stuck on website design. And yes, we fixed their website design. But as we got to talking, we realized they didn't know how to pitch their company. And I asked them a few questions, and they said, well, one of the partners had grown up in a Greek family that was very hospitable and had a lot of open house dinners and events where they'd make people feel at home and hospitable. And both partners were drawn into this life of making people feel hospitable. And then they went about to put on an event of their own, and they needed to rent some things. And it was a very impersonal process. And they had to go online and book all their dinnerware. And they realized they didn't know what it looked like. So they had to drive to the showcase space to see the dinnerware. And they had to drive 2 hours to get there. There was no one to greet them. It was antiseptic. And then once they started getting there, they started being able to get a vision for this. But they realized we're better at hospitality than these people. And we want people in the whole process to feel that they're welcome in our home. And when they look at our furniture that they're renting, and when they look at our dinnerware, that we want them to feel like they're getting it from us. I just told you a story. That's a story-driven ecosystem. And I end it with, and all they did is get with us for our middle tier website that comes with the website design, comes with messaging coaching, comes with marketing coaching. And we evoked this story brand from that process. Yeah, it's just our middle tier package. I'm not just selling you my offer. I'm inviting you into a story-driven ecosystem. What does that look like for you? So reshape your core offer. into a multi-layered experience. Make sure there's content around that offer. Make sure there's a community that you can point to, that you've worked with, that you've spent time with, that you put value into around that. Maybe it's just a community of past clients. Maybe it's current clients or potential clients in a Facebook group. Make sure you have a clear mission that you believe in, that nearly moves you to tears when you think about that mission. Make sure you can speak to a transformation like I just did with Hestia. Then position your brand as a movement from point A to point B, a movement of people who are taking control of their marketing and messaging, not as a menu of items. I am HotSpark. I do X, Y, and Z. You're a menu. Get out of here with that. We're HotSpark. We're helping a wave of small business owners launching their first or second business move towards financial success like they've never experienced before. It's a movement. We're organizing ourselves as a movement because we want to make that impact in people's lives. It's the only way to make long-term sustainable economic impact in your small business. Add ways for customers to engage with your story, not just your service. Do webinars and have them share their story. Tell them to vote on how the products and offerings are evolving, or your logo or your brand or the next version of your offering. If you're a landscaper, you can still do this. Hey, you guys want us to launch a permaculture gardening class? Engage with your customers and find ways for them to vote on. Hey, what do you guys think of the latest t-shirts? Offer your vote here. Do you like this? Is this silly? Is it over the top? Invite them into the conversation. So here's some tactical things you can do. Number one, update all your sales pages. Update your service listings with, oh, we already covered that. Where are we at there? Boom, we already covered why now. So update your sales pages. That's right. Add your comparison tables. We didn't update this one slide. Snafu on me. Thank God there's not that many people watching, so I'll actually capture this and fix this later. But there's tactical moves. Let me see if I can go pull up my tactical moves real quick. Tactical moves. There we go. Rebuild your homepage as a story, as a before us, an after, and a struggle. So literally go to your homepage and update your homepage to say before, the struggle, after, and why us. On your homepage, add an our mission or our brand beliefs or we believe. We believe that small business owners should have the best coaching and training when they enter a marketing space that they've ever experienced. Launch a weekly show, which we've done. Nicole and I have done with the HotSpark show, where we have a weekly show or a newsletter or an insider club that ties customers into the narrative. So there are a few things, and I will fix these slides and link to the slides below so you can have access to these later. So thanks for sticking with me on that. So those are some tactical moves you can do. So here's my summary. You don't fight an uncertain economy with panic. You fight with positioning. You don't fight an uncertain market with panic. Let me repeat that for the people in the back. You don't fight an uncertain economy with panic. You fight an uncertain economy with market position. Lock that in your soul and in your brain. And then again, it'll be on the slide. I highly recommend you grab the slides once we get this done. And then today's challenge. Here's my challenge to you to move the needle forward on this immediately. This is it. Choose one of these things you do today. Replace, either update your tagline or your website header today. Go back in the slides. I give you tactics on how to do it. Replace your tagline or your website today. Or pick number two, raise your value by adding a value explaining bulleted list to your core service. This is super easy. Open up your website, go to your product, go to your service, and add some value explainers to that. And then lastly, reshape the perception of your story and your brand. Add a mission or story section to your about page. You can choose one of these today and get absolutely cruising on being more ready for this uncertain economy. And I believe you can beat what I'm calling the tariff takedown of most small businesses. And listen, if you need a free consultation, we're available to you. Email us at socialmedia@hotsparkmedia.io. That's just our inbox that our team monitors. I should have changed it to get help, but that's what it is right now. socialmedia@hotsparkmedia.io. Send a message. Let us know you need help, or DM us or book on one of. Go to our website, hotsparkmedia.io. Click schedule a call, and we'll take care of you there. listen, no matter what you do, you can survive. There's that confidence. You can absolutely survive this uncertain economy, this uncertain market, but you can only do it if you take action. You can do some of the tactics I put in here. If you need help, you know we're here to serve you. You know I will serve you for that. I'll help you with your website, of course. I'll help you with your marketing and messaging. I'll help you get on camera and stand out when the rest of the world is shaking in its boots. You're not going to do that with your brand. You're going to stand strong. And if you need help, reach out to us. We're here. But no matter what you do today, remember the mission: igniting lives of explosive significance, starting with your own.